Yeah, there's a whole other rabbit hole to go down. But speaking of Kanye, great segue. I think that was the perfect segue to go into Kanye's ex-wife. Well, ex-wife, right? She's legally single. I guess that constitutes ex-wife, or at least separated from.
No, they
her.
have. She has won. I think the divorce trial. I think there was a divorce trial, and she won. But I think it was a bit complicated, so that's why I'm not entirely sure. Because like the whole file was included multiple things, but the divorce is finalized, as far as I
Okay.
know.
Okay. Well, I think for that,
Yay!
she deserves, and women across the world deserve a little applause. It's crazy because this whole story too with Kanye and all that, it brings up, like, I think Trevor Noah had, I thought, a pretty good monologue where he talked about if it's hard for Kim Kardashian to get a divorce or to leave a man or not to be harassed, think about everyone else that's going through this similar situation, how hard it is for them without the whole attention of the entire world either supporting you or at least watching the situation unfold. So I thought that was an interesting point. But we're not going to.
I have to agree.
Yeah.
And I'm going through a breakup. Well, I've been like, it's been going on forever, but I still own a flat with the guy. It's still a nightmare. So it's not quite a divorce in the sense that we were not married, but in Scotland they would qualify as common law marriage. So but yeah, it's pretty hard because like yeah.
Yeah, when you have
I don't know where
assets
to start.
together, that's never a good
Yeah.
place to be breaking up. But it happens all the time, so it's like, it's very
Yeah.
common, yet it's difficult. That's why these decisions to get into something, it's like you gotta take it so serious and know the consequences could be there if it doesn't work out.
Yeah, of course. And I think for Kim and Kanye, they also have children. And obviously, it's a different situation. And not only that, but they are super public. So I don't want to imagine just how many things are probably untouchable in the sense of like, I'm assuming that that probably should be part of the process, because like if you're a public person and you're married to another public person and then she starts to come out with all your secrets or whatever,
Yeah.
like he is likely to ruin your reputation forever, so God, I don't know, it's hard to say that.
It's tough because the whole conversation about that talks about mental illness. It talks about, divorce and harassment. It talks about social media's impact. It talks about children of divorce and dating after divorce. There's so much that you could glean or interpret from that situation. But thankfully, we're not going to talk about that today. That's a whole other serious issue. We're going to talk about how to get off our ass and work and make that bag.
Oh my God. You guys are so lazy.
Yeah, I already knew I was lazy, but having Kim Kardashian confirm it just made me that much lazier.
Oh man, it gave me motivation hearing her say that. It did get me off my ass out of anger, really.
Yeah,
I
I'm
got
off my
so
ass,
angry with her.
pacing the room and just furious about this stupid advice.
Yeah. I don't know if that kind of motivation is the healthiest though, because it's hard to
true.
really just like hone in on your concentration in that
Driven
moment.
by rage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's never a good place to enter any conversation, I suppose. But I've had time to cool down. I'm cooler now. Like, I'm not mad. I really think this whole thing is a publicity stunt. I don't think anyone, especially someone so connected to what's the heartbeat of social media, would be so out of touch to think that this is good advice that people were gonna like, or people were going to be like, yes, queen, like, preach it, get off our ass, yes. Like, maybe in 2015, but not today. So I think she knew that, or whoever writes their scripts for them on these press tours, they knew there was going to be controversial. So they have a new show now on Hulu. So that's like, all of this is just to get people talking, to watch the show, to have it be a success, and then profit.
It's hard to. Okay. So I don't give them enough credit as to say that they knew this was going to cause that much
Interesting.
of a problem themselves. But I think the producers knew. And having produced things myself, and I know what it's like to be behind the camera and drive the interview and ask
Uh-huh.
questions and just like know where to push and what when you're trying to get to something. So I can imagine there was a producer or a director behind the camera asking questions that they were answering to,
Sure.
and they maybe knew. I think they knew, or they wanted to get a viral moment. I
Yeah.
don't know that they knew it was gonna be like that huge,
Mm-hmm.
but well, I mean, they had Kim Kardashian, they had a Kardashian, so they knew it was gonna be huge. But I think maybe the producers and the people at sorry, is it Variety
Variety.
or
I said
Vanity Fair?
I said Vanity Fair.
Variety.
That was my fault.
Yeah,
My
and I
bad.
think they must have known, but I don't know that Kim knew because I just don't think she would have done it. And they seem pretty proud with what they're saying throughout this interview, and I feel like I don't know.
I'm so
It's hard to
torn.
say.
I don't know because like they do live in a bubble. They do. So it's possible that they're surrounded by so many people who kiss their own ass and stick their own fingers up their own ass and go, "Yeah, like whatever you say is amazing, Kardashian family." And they just think that that's how everyone else thinks. But then at the same time it's like they have the internet. They got to know
Yeah,
that that's not like what's up anymore. You know, that's old thinking.
exactly.
But I don't know.
Even if they live in a bubble, and even if this may be somewhat true in their bubble, I think they've been in enough like problematic moments that they are aware of just what's outside the bubble, if that makes sense. So I think even on a surface level, they probably don't understand really per se what it's like to live a normal life with very little money.
Yeah.
That's not something that they understand, I don't think. But yeah, and it's just it's interesting because, and I spoke about this because I made a video about it, but I just am shocked at how many people are reacting to this and how few people reacted to this when all the self-help gurus said it. Like,
Oh,
what?
this is nothing new. Yeah,
This is not new.
this is like token self-help page 1, chapter 1, what you need to do to succeed in life. This is like the basics, the basis of all self-help. It's all your hard work. That's all it takes. Get off
Yeah.
your ass.
Yeah, Rachel Hollis, Gary V, like what's her name? Melissa, can't remember her last name. Like they all have spoken about just how much they hustled and how much they worked and how you should do that and make time. You don't have reasons, you have excuses and like stuff like that. And I, having made an entire channel about this, I've been annoyed with that rhetoric for a while. And now finally, like people are like, "Oh yeah, that's problematic." I'm like, "Thank you. Where the fuck have you all been?" Like,
Yeah. Well, I think it's a good testament. Like, if I brought up Rachel Hollis to a friend that I know in real life, they'd be like, "Who the fuck are you talking about?" But if I bring up Kim Kardashian, they're like, "Oh yeah, of course I know her." So the conversation now has moved from the internet niche that we discuss and talk about and think about a lot to everybody. And I think that's important because now if they're going to start people are going to start talking about how negative this view is, maybe the self-helpers will start getting some more heat from like the general public. Maybe.
yeah. And I think maybe this has a little to do with the pandemic as well, because I think right now while this rhetoric may have worked before and it was all about like hustle, 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 and you have no excuses, like then the pandemic came and suddenly we were not allowed to go out, we were not allowed to meet our friends, we were not allowed to like the so many industries just like had to stop working.
Yeah.
So many industries, not only did they have to stop working or whatever, but they, even those that survived or that were thriving, they still had to adapt to a completely different environment. I remember restaurants that were like high end in Glasgow starting to do deliveries. It was like just because you go to a restaurant like that for like the experience and whatever, and then suddenly when you get it in a box, it's like just food. And you're like, why are you paying like luxury price for just food in a box? Like, it started to be really weird. And I think it became obvious to everyone. There was no way to hide the fact that you really don't have control over what, like, this is all, none of it is under our control. Like, if they decide to set some high taxes, there's nothing we can do. If
Yeah.
they decide to, like, make us not go out, there's nothing we can do. Like, you can go out, but then you get a fine or you're whatever. So I think this is why it's maybe now a bit more popular, I guess, like, the fact that it's problematic.
Yeah, I think the pandemic was a great no, was a great thing. No, it wasn't. It was a great reminder that yeah, we don't have control. It really, I think, reset a lot of the toxic culture that we had, the hustle culture from like I try to think of like with time when it started, but like 2010 till 2020, really? I mean, like right before, I think it was still pretty strong. I mean, Gary Vee was selling out conferences, and Tony Robbins, they all have the similar message, and even Rachel, minus her scandals, were really appealing to people to feel like they had a sense of control, to feel like they could take control of their finances. Like, yes, they weren't born into riches, but if they just sold enough stuff on eBay, they might have a chance to be up there with the, upper echelon of society. And to a point, some people could, some people did, and it was great for them. But the majority of people, it's like any pyramid scheme. Like some people at the top do succeed, in any MLM or whatever. There's a couple, but 99% statistically are not. So that's where a lot of people get upset. It's like, don't give advice that only 0.1% of people can actually achieve and accomplish. It's not good advice to give out to every single person as inspirational. And I think, Kim Kardashian and the Kardashians are the perfect example of like a company. I mean, they're a family, but they're also a company. And I think they're a company first, a brand. And they've had other scandals before where, like, was Kylie a self-made billionaire? What's the definition of self-made then? Because she grew up in opulence. Her whole family was in an industry that she just jumped on. She was born into a reality show, essentially. She was like a teenager when they started it. And it's like, so what is, self-made as opposed to what? Someone just gave you the money directly? But what about all of the influence that led to you even starting the company that, you started? It's just, it brought up a lot.
Yeah. And not only that, but I think it was false. I don't
It
think
wasn't
she
even
was a
real.
millionaire.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was false. It was just like a publicity stunt. And but it's funny, now that you're talking about Kylie. She's not here. They're not. The Jenners are not here. It's just the three of them. Well, and the mother, obviously. I
Yeah.
I have I have a feeling. I don't know how to say it in a kind way, but the mother is exploiting them or has
Oh,
exploited them
yeah.
in the past. That's how I feel like they grew up, and her mother has always just kind of done business in the background. And as soon as they started, whatever, I don't know, teenagers, I think that Kylie was young, was like below 18 when she became famous and stuff. I feel like the mother started to push them um into the mainstream media like
Early.
before the age of work, the
Oh,
legal
they were
age
on
of work.
TV. Yeah, I don't think and I see some people have also never seen an episode. I don't think I've seen a full episode ever, but I remember seeing them in like pictures and in the intro that would be played sometimes on TV, and they were like in high school. The Jenners, Kendall and Kylie were young. They were like, going to school and had braces and stuff. So they weren't, of age to be working. Like they were considered probably child actors, I would imagine, or child stars. And then once they became 18, then they
But
did
it's
their
like,
own
okay,
stuff.
with actors though, I feel like there's a working environment. Like, you go somewhere with the kid, they work for whatever, 8, 9 hours, I don't know how, depends. In Glasgow it was never 8 or 9 hours, but whatever. They
Could
work
be,
for
yeah.
however much, and then they come back home, and they also have there are laws protecting their income and stuff. But with like reality TV, when there's like cameras in your home 24/7, I don't know that
I don't know how it
it's
works.
like, yeah, that you are protected if you're a child, that you're protected by the law, or that you are have enough downtime or enough time to play or focus on school or whatever it is, that isn't work. So it kind of feels like it feels like family vloggers.
Yeah, it's what every family vlogger thinks that they are, essentially, like a reality star. The family vloggers are shooting their own content, but you know, the only difference really is that a company is coming in and shooting video of the family and then editing it and posting it to Netflix or wherever they were on before, Bravo or something, I don't know. So yeah, that's the only difference. And that's a good point. I don't know the rules for reality shows versus traditional on-set actors, and there needs to be some rules. I'm like a huge proponent of that family vloggers and anything involving someone under the age of 18 needs to have regulations and rules, because otherwise they have no control over their life. We see how so many of these child stars, even the ones that have the rules and regulations, end up totally screwed up because they were, you know, their money's taken from them from their parents, or they are put into these situations where there's drugs and alcohol and like all this stuff happens, and it's very rare for them to, you know, become an adult and then succeed separately or on their own or in their own right. So there needs to be something put in place, whether it's through the industry itself that's self-regulating or through the government. But
I would argue that there wasn't something like that, because had there been something like that, I don't think that they would have become that popular. Because I think the part of the reason why they became so popular was because of the amount of content, the amount of stuff that was all over the news, all over the internet about them. That's a lot of, well, I guess it's time to give give them some credit for hard work here, but that's a lot of content, you know. And I feel like there was no way that, maybe I'm being harsh, but it kind of seems hard that they would have worked just like a little bit. It seems like they must have been working
to
or
find
had
work,
cameras.
though, you know?
Yeah, well,
It's
had
like,
cameras around them.
yeah. Like if
For
I was to
like,
go get my nails done and have a conversation about, oh, my boyfriend did this and said this, like, and then go get lunch, like, but there's cameras. I mean, yeah, that's technically working, but you know, it's also nice and fun. It's not in a factory for 24 hours a day, you know, like the difference is, and you're making millions from it. So it's like the payoff is worth it too. A lot of people work really hard cleaning Rachel Hollis's toilet for probably, you know, 12 hours a day. Not really, but you know, for a long time, and make $10 an hour, $12 an hour. They're working hard, but there's no payoff. So you can never get to that next level where you can take a break, because you're always trying to keep up with, you know, bills and whatnot.
And this is interesting to me also because of the way that we conceptualize work. And it's always just like the amount of effort you put into something, the amount of concentrated effort. That's how society sees it. It's like when you're working, you're not talking to other people, you're not whatever. But then I see people working on corporations who are constantly like on Instagram texting me.
Yeah.
So it's like they're being paid for that time. And it's like, if I don't, with YouTube, if I don't put out videos, like I just don't get paid. It's like there is no, you know, you can text, well, like it's I'm working when I'm not working, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like this is interesting with celebrities because, like, well, okay, I guess YouTubers too that are bigger, but like for me, I'm not there yet. But with celebrities, it's more like the concept of work is not work as in like the amount of effort. It's more like the amount of eyes you have on you.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways, and I've been thinking about that a lot, because you know, I feel like I work a lot less than I did when I worked in an office and worked for traditional media, and I make more now. I have more time for myself, and I feel conflicted about it. It feels unfair, almost like I don't deserve to be paid more to work less, and it's this complex that I feel like I've developed over time, you know, from a variety of sources. But it's kind of one of those things you have to kind of get right in your head, because in school they would say, yeah, the amount of effort you put in will equal the outcome that you get, and that is just not how it works in the real world. Like even with YouTube, it's such an honor, I guess is the strong word to say, but a privilege for me to be able to even do this, because the time it takes to build up the channel, to have live streams, to cut the video, to have all this time to be able to make it work and not get paid, because it takes time to get monetized. So you have to work on the side while you're doing that. And even if you get lucky, it takes a long time to have it be sustainable so that you can actually afford your life and not having a guaranteed, paycheck every 2 weeks and all that. It all comes into it, but it's like, it's such a more rewarding thing for me because it's more fun for me than going and working at, at being a receptionist or something. Like, but not everyone has that chance. If you had bills or you had kids and you had to pay month to month, like you don't have time to build up a different business. It's hard. I don't know. It's confusing to me to think about why certain people get the chances that we get and not, and all that. I don't know how to square it in my head.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same for me. I feel like it's very hard to wrap my mind around it. And I think the reason that is because we have been taught, or at least I have been taught, that work is like effort, 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 and that's
Mm-hmm.
it. And I'm now like at the age of 31, and I'm like, no, that was crap. Like
Yeah.
I'm sure that they thought they were onto something, and now I'm like, oh shit, like that's not how it works at all. Like, and now I'm
Yeah.
having to like reimagine or to pay close attention in order to just be able to understand how it really works if I really
Mm-hmm.
want to make it work somehow. And I still like I can't seem to make it work with YouTube. I'm struggling like a lot with it. It's very much, especially when you have like one foot in the real world. I don't know if you've noticed this. When you have
Mm-hmm.
one foot in the real world and one foot on YouTube, it's really hard because you have to constantly stay on top of what's going on YouTube. And if you miss the timing, it's like it's a disaster. Like nobody watches anything. It's like, but you can't.
Yeah.
You're very likely to miss the timing when you're doing real life work, and I'm sure that you have experienced this too. This is the biggest thing that I complain about all the time.
Yeah, for me, it's hard because I run a business, but it's my own. It's just me as a freelancer, essentially, as a video producer, and I get offers sometimes to go and shoot something or to do something locally, and I'm like, I could do that, and I'm glad that I'm getting opportunities. But I really love YouTube. I love being online and talking and doing this and being on camera and kind of working that. So I'm like, the more I have to go outside of the house to produce some content for someone else, the less I'm getting the chance to work on this, which is what I really care about. But there's no guarantee that you're going to make the money. If someone hates the video I put out, you're not going to make enough to eat that month. So I need to balance it. It is tough. If you had like a trust fund, you could like put all your effort into YouTube.
Yeah,
But because we don't, because we're not the Kardashians or the
we're
Smiths.
not Alex Weber.
Yeah, Axel Weber. Oh my God.
Axel, sorry.
We'll have to do that episode sometime in the future again. But there's like, I'm not complaining. I think I'm like I said, I'm very, very lucky to even have a chance to do this now. I've wanted to start a YouTube channel for years, and I could never like catch up with my debt that I could do it. But yeah, all this stuff, it goes into your self-worth, how good you are. Like it all play. It's like, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. All I'm trying to say is that the
It doesn't.
Kardashians' perspective does not match my perspective, and my perspective doesn't
Yeah.
match the next person's perspective. So it's hard to give out blanketed advice to everybody.
Yeah, and I think what I think in regards to what you were,
Trying to
wow,
say.
okay, English. So I think the fact that you have so much reinforcement from the public sometimes, and we have it at a very small scale compared to like the Kardashians. Like there is no comparison. But when you have so much reinforcement, even like Rachel Hollis is very small in comparison to the Kardashians. And Rachel Hollis is in some sort of
Mm-hmm.
bubble where she's getting only information that she already knows or that she already agrees with and stuff like that. She's surrounded by yes people.
Yeah,
Imagine these guys. Imagine this family.
I
Because
know.
like, you can't be like behind the camera and upset them or something because they will walk out the stage and they would probably revoke your right to publish that. And it's like you have to walk on eggshells around people like that, like them. You know what I mean? As a person working with them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like you can just be like, oh, Kim, that's thing you said is kind of problematic. Should we put it the first 2 seconds of the video?
Yeah. Well, this interview is like this is just promotion for them. So they're, I don't know. I don't know. I think they knew what they were doing. So that's my perspective, that they want that juicy stuff at the top because they want people to watch this interview to know that they have a show. I mean, we're talking about it, for God's sake. So like, it worked.
I guess it got us talking about.
Yeah.
Oh my God, did we fall into the trap?
100%. I'm in the trap, but it's okay.
We're
trapped.
I don't fall into the trap.
I'm so far in the trap. I can't even see what
the trap.
The trap. But anyways, let's watch this a little bit so we can give people a context of what the heck we're talking about. I mean, you can see it in the title, but let's just hear her own words. Let's hear the seething anger that comes out of a lot of self-helpers' mouths. I think she's got the same issue. Okay.
Yeah. Advice for women in business: get your fucking ass up and work.
Get your fucking ass up and work it.
From the start, we decided that we always wanted to be really open and honest to who we are. When we would film tough episodes that were really about our life, whether it was breakups or transitions or things that other people might be having a hard time dealing with at home, if that changed the way that reality TV is, viewed or seen as being really helpful and informational, I think that makes me proud. I'm just grateful that we
that is so modest.
And I think something that we've always stayed true to is that we want to.
Okay, 2 things. I hate, and I know why people do it, because you have to, but, well, you don't have to, but it's like, people accept it when it's like you're making a reality show and you're making millions of dollars and you're like, I'm doing it for you to learn at home. It's like, shut up. You're just trying to make money like all the rest of us. Like, thank you. Just like the rest of us, and you're doing it better than us, okay? Just like, you're not serving anybody.
No, exactly. And also, she's not even pretending to be modest. It's like, yeah, I know that changed the way of, reality TV. It's like, shut up, Kim. You're taking so much credit on your shoulders. Like,
yeah.
I'm sure that it did do something, but I feel like it's such a, I guess, I don't know.
Where's Ryan Seacrest?
Maybe this is just me having like unconscious bias, and maybe like women should be modest. No, women should not be modest. But like, I guess I'm just not loving the lack of modesty here, because like we know how famous they are. She doesn't need to show off to us.
I struggle with that so much. I'm so glad you brought that up, because I also catch myself getting mad when people aren't modest, and women, men and women, but especially with women, it's like, am I just like, what do you say, unconscious misogynist too? That I'm like, she shouldn't be, happy that she's made millions and millions of dollars. I get conflicted about that too, because I'm like, am I the problem? Am I the one that's like perpetuating this thing that women can't make money? But then I'm like, well, I don't like it when Grant Cardone or Tony Robbins or any of them say it. I think it's all rude, because there's people who are literally starving. So it's like, we know you're rich and famous. Do you have to shove it down our throats every second of the day?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's called internalized misogyny. And yeah, for sure, I have it and catch myself, but I try really hard to just kind of like catch it and not let it go any further than that.
Yeah.
But what I will say, sometimes it is, I find it helpful sometimes when people do talk about money. But when people like Kim Kardashian talk about money, that's just like an insult.
Yeah.
You can't watch that with a straight face. It's like literally insulting everyone.
I know. It's like, okay, there's no hope for anybody. So why are you giving it? It's like, I don't know. Yeah. It's so far out of the realm of possibility for all of us. It's just like, how about you stay in your lane? And I know that's a bad thing to say too, but like, stay in your lane. That's how I feel. Like, do your reality show, do your thing, but don't give us business advice to women. Let someone else who's got actual advice that's good and not, stupid speak. But then again, it's like, why? I don't want to be restricted to what I should say either. So I don't know. As long as I can criticize it, I'm fine.
I wonder who the advice is for. Like, which women? Is she talking to like influencers like Lily Singh or something? Like, who is she talking to? Because you need to be like on some sort of level in order to even dream of achieving Kim's level. Do you know what I mean? Like, you,
Yeah.
like, if it's for us, I don't, I can't conceptualize that level of fame. Like, that's not something, and I'm also not necessarily looking for fame at all. Like, I don't
Speak for
know what's
yourself.
going on behind, yeah, all these thoughts. I'm not sure where they're coming from, but definitely, like, fame is not something that I've ever sucked.
She's sucking
But
form, fame, and fortune.
but it's like so such blanket advice. Like, just work. Like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? Really, literally. Like, I would have loved to be like behind the camera and ask, like, what do you mean by work, Kim?
Yeah, and Kelsey has a good point. She says women in business. So, with entrepreneurial women, I guess. So get off your ass and work if you own your own business. If you don't work your own business, then don't worry about it. But that's just like such like MLM MLM speech, like work the business, work your own business. It's like they've been brainwashed to believe that, you know, selling Herbalife is like running your own business.
Right. And
yeah.
also at the same time trying to sell the exact opposite rhetoric of just make money while you sleep. Like, which one is it? Do I get my ass up and work, or do I make money while I sleep? Like, can you just tell me?
And I think too, it's like, don't you have enough? Why do you keep working? Can't, like, it's almost like it's a, not an illness, but like, it's like almost like a defect of their personalities. It's like, enough will never be enough. And they need to keep working so hard. It's like, why don't you go and take a break? Go take 10 years off and come back and then do something if you want. But the fact that they feel the need to get off their ass and hustle at this level of success, what's the point of it all? More stuff? There's never going to be enough. It's like, I want to work hard so I can relax later. I want to be able to, when I'm older, chill.
That's the kind of a concept we talked about in university, where we were talking about, this was like on African literature, and a writer was talking about how in the white world, as he was describing it, they traded their freedom for money. And it was like, what's the point of having freedom if you have no time to use that freedom for yourself? And it's exactly this concept. Like, what's the point, Kim, of having so much money, as much as you've made, if you are not able to just like let go and just like enjoy that money and not worry about a single thing? Like, you're still part of the machine. You're still part of the capitalist machine. It's the capitalist propaganda, I think. That's what it is to me.
Yeah, and it's all like, all the stuff that they do, all the stuff that they buy ends up being used to entice more people to buy more of their stuff. Because it's like, oh, watch my Instagram, look at my Bugatti, look at this party that I planned, look at this, like my children having this bounce house that's like $20 million. Like, it's all great, but it's all just then to show other people again that's like to come and it's like a cycle. There's no like end game. And that's the thing that I think is kind of disappointing. It's like, ooh, you're never going to get out of this trap. Like, they're in a trap too. They're in a very gold plated trap, but they're in one too. We're all in one. But
what I will say, as much as I do, you know, they do work in the sense that they are sort of actors. They're people who sell their every moment of life. Everything that is private and sacred is now in the public.
Yeah.
They, you know what I mean? While that does happen, I don't think that it's as much work as they're claiming in this interview. Like, we're working so hard. Like, I don't think it's that hard work. I think what they mean by this hard work is we're just selling things to you that we don't necessarily want to. Like, I think that's what the work is. The work is, I have private moments that I don't want to share, but I'm going to share them for money.
I think it comes down to, you know, is it worth it in the end? Are you getting about the same? Like, if I was to share a horrible story about my life, like, okay, I get $10 for that, it's not worth it. If you're going to share a horrible thing about your life but get 10 million, you might consider doing it. And so, but a lot of people live where they're like sacrificing all of their time, all of their efforts for a corporation that could care less about them. It's not worth it. It's like, oh, for my $10, I just wasted, 12 hours today working at the poultry factory or whatever. It's like, but they don't have a choice. That's the thing. I think a lot of these self-help people and people like giving advice like this, they act like everything's a choice. It's like, sometimes people have limited choices, like work at this factory or work at this place, and it's a $2 difference. It's not really like, oh, work hard and become successful or sit on your ass and do nothing. Those aren't the choices people have every day. And that's why I think they get disconnected. Like, oh, well, you should just stay home and I don't know.
Well, yeah. I mean, we do have like agency to some extent, but I guess that's where privilege comes in, and that's the textbook definition, where you have more, you're able to choose from a large pool rather than from a very limited pool of resources.
Yeah.
And they have all the resources in terms of finances, in terms of connections, in terms of fame and all of that. But I will argue also that they have no privacy, and anywhere they go there will be paparazzis and people, and you sometimes, I don't know, like, I don't know that I personally, as an introvert, I think I would absolutely hate that.
Yeah.
But then that's not the career I'm going for, so, that's fine. And I'm assuming that they're different than me. But this is where I have a problem with it. And this is why I said that the mom sort of exploited them, because I don't know how much choice they actually had. But maybe now they're just accustomed to that lifestyle and that's it. But I don't know that they were given a choice not to be on camera when they were like 12.
I mean, how could they? It's like parental consent is like your parent signs the form for you. You don't even fill it out. So how could Kylie decide, like, yes, this is good for me? She doesn't know. She's a child. But I think you bring up a good point. It's like, it almost is, the whole thing is kind of sad, because as much as we can ridicule them and say, God, this is so out of touch, which it is, there is a sense of sadness that I have for them, because it must be lonely to have this experience and then to probably find out that it still doesn't make you happy. And, no one really knows you. They think they know you because they see your ass on Instagram, but they don't know her as a person, as a real, like, thinking human being. And she's probably lost a lot of herself along the way trying to appeal to the masses, which is difficult because the mass of people have so many opinions and different things going on in their lives. You do have to, like, just appeal to people all the time, and getting the surgeries and probably feeling like I'm fat and I'm ugly. Like, none of that goes away just because you're successful monetarily. So in a way, it's like I feel badly for them, but I also can be envious and go, well, I don't think this advice is good, and you have too much money that you don't really work for, I guess.
The problem with this advice is, like, it's not even the advice itself that is so problematic as the packaging that she put it in. Like, get your fucking ass up and work. As if she's talking to people who don't work. As if we're all like a bunch of bums or whatever. And, it's so condescending. And I think that the delivery was awful. But the message was bad, but the delivery was awful.
Worse.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
Yeah.
And that's a great point.
And this is where I think she enraged everyone, because, like, had she delivered this in, like, a kinder, softer way, I think maybe people wouldn't have reacted so badly. But it's like, you even throwing fucking in that sentence was like, just, it makes you angry to listen to. Just like, shut the fuck up.
Because she seems angry. She seems mad. Like, she's offended that, like, well, how dare you criticize me?
How dare we be so lazy?
Yeah, get your fucking ass up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she is in a way.
Okay.
Anyways, okay, let's continue.
It sounded like that. Yeah, she's definitely sounded like that.
Yeah, she's pissed. So it's like, why are you pissed? We're pissed. Well, I'm pissed because you don't work and I work hard. It's like, well, if we had the opportunity, if someone came to me and said, hey, if you work for the next 3 years, 12 hours a day, every single day, have this camera in your face, but at the end of it, you're going to make $100 million. I'd be like, well, let's do it. I'll do it. Like, but that opportunity is not there for everybody. So the hard work is not even possible for everyone. Anyways, okay. Continuing.
Film
really what we're going through. And even if it's not crazy salacious and it might not be, something for ratings like some other shows do, we've always stayed true to who we are.
What's important to remember is we've been able to shine a really bright light on issues like the homeless situation in Los Angeles, prison reform, just different things that we actually care about.
I think we've learned a good balance of boundaries over
This
the
is-
years.
can we pause?
Yes.
That line from Chris, that's her name, right?
Kris Jenner. Or,
The mom.
Yes, Chris.
Kris Jenner.
Yeah.
Right. So Chris, that line right there where she says we've been able to shine a light on the homelessness situation and stuff like that. That line is why I don't think that they did this on purpose. I think that because I think they're trying to be like, here's all the things we've done, and like trying to show off to like raise awareness towards the good things. So that's why I feel like they are sort of set up by the producers, and they're like,
They're leading them down a path to say something, I suppose.
yeah, because otherwise, why would she say that? Because that sounds like so good, right? What she just said.
I don't know
So
about
why
the
would she
homeless
say
thing. I know about the prison reform, but I do think that's kind of cool and good. And I think she
Yeah,
does
that
hold
is-
a certain power to bring awareness to these cases and stuff. Her tweeting about a case could reopen the case, or her tweeting about a possible innocent person in prison could get the media attention that, it needs to be reopened. I think that is a good use of your power.
Exactly. That is activism. That is the kind
Yeah.
of thing you would say in an interview. Like,
Yeah.
this is what I do in my free time, and you're gonna like bring awareness to something good that you're doing. So that's why I'm just like, there is no way they thought that this interview was problematic, and they were saying problematic things on purpose. I think they were trying to like really just play it as an interview, and we're here to sell ourselves.
Okay.
And got played.
Okay. That's a good point. I'll take that. I'll put that in the, point for Cam's theory so far, because I can see that. Okay, let's keep
I
going.
get a gold star.
Gold star for you.
Boundaries, being the queen of boundaries. We always show, even if it's something that we don't fully want to get into, we always show a glimpse of something that the viewer really hasn't seen.
Creepy.
I'm really excited
Yeah,
about the show on Hulu because we really have no restrictions. Before on E, it was totally us and totally amazing, but the episodes were so short, and the producers definitely knew what the E audience wanted, and this feels a little bit more documentary style, coming from a different angle of where we're at in our lives now, because it's different sides that maybe the E audience wasn't into our business ventures or my law school journey and stuff like that.
I think I definitely started the boundaries conversation, but I think it's like boundaries within even like how to balance like filming and then having a moment to ourselves, or like taking our kids to school, or knowing that like we need to work out in the morning before we kind of start our day, like all the things to survive.
She's a trailblazer.
Okay.
I am. But
can we say?
I think boundaries with filming is like, yesterday I got a text like, can we film Valentine's Day? And I was like, that's gonna be a no. I'm sure you would love to, but that's gonna be a no.
You've always been really open. I think what's cool about Court is that she started off our original show not really wanting to be famous or caring. What she showed was just so like limitless, because she didn't give a fuck what anybody thought about her or how they perceived her, and so she just showed everything. This time it's on her terms, but I'm really surprised to see how open she is. What's also different is we film individually a lot, and so I'll watch an episode and just be like, oh my God, that's what you guys were doing, or that's what happened, and that's where you're at. I love it. Like, you've been actually so open this season, more so than I ever thought.
Don't tell her that, she might pull back.
No, I have.
Yeah, no. You're
And, but it's like, it's so
Doing
cute.
amazing,
It's
sweetie.
so cute.
This makes me so happy.
She's never had a reaction like that from me, and it's happened like a few times.
Kim kind of paved the way in showing us how to navigate social media and how to take the different social media platforms and use them in such a great way, but in a great cadence. When we first started out doing Keeping Up with the Kardashians, for example, there was barely Twitter. As each platform has evolved and become how this generation does business. She
Can we
and
pause?
Chloe
Yes.
and Courtney have.
First of all, they're not famous because of social media. What is she
No.
doing? Like, she's trying to be like, take so much credit, like, we invented social media, or we maybe they're not invented it, but she's trying to
Capitalize.
make it sound like they were the first ones to discover the possibilities of social media and whatnot. It's like, you were famous. You were famous in mainstream media. That's social media is like this second, like even now they have a show on Hulu. They had a show on it's mainstream media. They're having a show on Hulu. Maybe not as mainstream, but it's still like more mainstream than YouTube. You know what I mean?
Yes, I agree. And, you know, even before the children were a part of this, like when Kim and Chloe and all them are young, and Courtney, Chris was, you know, the wife of a very successful lawyer who was literally defending O.J. Simpson. So she was in the spotlight, you know, a mainstream spotlight on a lesser level, but she's had a lot of time to develop this persona, to develop the connections in the industry. The trial was what, in the 90s, like the early 90s? So she was already, like the mother was already building this platform for them. She didn't even, Facebook was like, you know, 20 years away, and still the foundation was being laid for this to happen. Now they capitalized, they took advantage, they did everything that they could, and I'm not saying that in a negative way. They saw Instagram come up and they used it in a way that made it work for them. So yeah, great, but is that like such an achievement? I don't know. You didn't mess up the opportunity that was there, I guess.
Exactly. I don't think that's what I think what the achievement was. And I definitely give Chris a lot of credit. I think she's very smart. I think she's very understanding of how the industry works, and she managed to make an empire out of it. So I you know, it's obvious that she is extremely smart and resourcely, all of that. But it's because of mainstream. It's not because of social media. But she's now, this is, you see, it's another one of those moments where like, here's what Kim has done, and here's what Courtney has done, and here's what Chloe has done. It's like, just stop trying to sell them to me. Like, I got it.
Know.
You're famous, you're there, you're already appreciated. And it's like, just I don't know. It's kind of rubbing me the wrong way when like they're essentially being pushed down my throat.
Yeah, they're selling. I mean, they have this opportunity for the Variety magazine, whatever. They look like they're in some sort of studio, and everyone's laughing about the box. Yeah, they need to explain, like, what is this? Is this a stage, like a stepping stool to, like, be on the, you know, I don't know. It's just they're all touching it, like.
Why a wooden box? Why not, like, iron or something?
Why are they leather? Like, what's going on? It's just this how, like, we need some context. We don't need less business advice, more context about where we are watching this interview. Yeah. There's like a whole scene going on in the background.
Get your ass up and sit on the box. Okay.
Get your ass up and find yourself a plywood box. This is what's in these days. No one wants to get plywood boxes anymore. So annoying. It's like an ad for Home Depot the whole time. Like, they're sponsored by Home Depot. They're like, this box can change the world if you just get out your tools and fucking hammer some nails into it. I don't know.
Yeah. And I love the background being so messy and stuff. Like, you know, I can see lights, I can see makeup trays, I can see so many.
They're like shooting a Crest commercial or something in the background over there. Like, what's going on? Where are you? Is this where you shoot the show?
This is one of these situations where it's like, oh, let's make it quirky. So let's use our studio as a background for, you know, it's like, okay, but it's not pleasant to me. It looks bland as fuck. It's like black and gray, or it's not even gray. It's like this cream, this off-white. I don't know.
Yeah,
it looks bad.
That's a great
I'm
point.
Not loving this shot.
I guess because we've been staring at it for the last like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. We've been talking about this. It's like, yeah, I am confused. What is going on here? What aesthetic are we going for? This is I don't know what the heck Variety magazine does. I have no context of what type of magazine they are, but can't you find a better locale?
Can't you have chairs? Can you have them sitting down?
Yeah, why is one person sitting?
Why do they need
3 are standing?
Yeah, and they're not moving. This must be so uncomfortable. Imagine they've been interviewed for like half an hour. You're singing in that one position, and you're only moving your hand slightly because you don't want to, somehow maybe your boob will fall out, or you don't want any of that. I don't know what it's like to have boobs, but I mean,
Yeah, great points, everyone. And there's like several lights that are pointed away from them, so it's like they're this expensive equipment that's thousands of dollars not being utilized. Why? This is the real conundrum.
It looks so sloppy. It looks really sloppy. There's a box. It's like they came into the Vanity Fair variety office, and the producer was like,
Here?
What do I do with these guys? Oh, why don't you just sit around this box?
Courtney's like, I will only do this if I can sit. They're like, okay, well, she's gonna sit, so that ruined our.
I have a stool. Will that work?
Yeah. Look at this box.
Courtney's like, I guess.
And like, two people can be touching the box at one time, but one elbow's fine. But other than that, it's gonna collapse. So just be careful. And they're like, okay, let's just all hold this balanced.
They're not moving at all. Like this is disturbing.
So no wonder she's pissed. She's like, probably
she's in pain. They're probably on heels.
They're probably mad. They're probably in heels, and probably maybe the director's of a woman, and they're like, get your ass up and get us in a better location. How about that? Stop putting us in boxes in this stupid set. Maybe she was talking specifically to one person, and the variety director was like, okay, let's spin this as if it was advice for all women so they could get out of the controversy. Now I'm like on the conspiracy theory train.
Yeah,
I like it.
Maybe like the makeup artist behind was like, yeah, you go queen. Invite me to your next event.
She's like, my ass is up. Look, I'm up. I'll help you. Let me style your whole family. Yeah. Okay, let's keep playing. I'm convinced now. They're pissed about the location. They hate it, and they're gonna vindictively hurt us all in the process of rebelling.
The rest of us how to work the different platforms.
But I think we're generally so excited. We see the hard work that goes into each person's business, and so when we get a delivery, I got a push delivery last night, and I was so excited, and I was posting about it, and then Chloe will send some Good American jeans, and my daughter will steal them, and I show the process because I'm genuinely love the product, see the work behind it, and am their biggest fans. So I think we just get so excited for each other that we want to show it off.
One thing I've learned from Kim is how being generous with sharing posts or with your ideas, generous with helping people, it does come back to you.
I think there's room for everyone. It's just I think the motto that we've always had in time and our space and our energy. Yeah.
Right.
And my mom's thing is always never take no for an answer. And I think that's in us, in all of us.
Well, if someone's telling you no, you're asking the wrong person.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Can you believe this is day one?
Literally, this is insane.
My advice for women in business is...
Okay, wait. I didn't hear Chloe's advice for women in business yet. Let's go. This is Chloe's advice for women in business. I don't know what this one is. I don't think. Okay.
Oh, you don't know? Okay.
What Chloe's is? Okay. Yeah. I want to hear to see what her advice. She's said 3 words thus far, so this is her big moment. Okay.
Is you just have to do what you're actually passionate about, because if you don't have passion in it, it's not easy, regardless of how it looks. And I think people see things with instant gratification because of social media, that they think it just comes easy to people. It doesn't, especially if you want something long term.
I have the best advice for...
Okay, before we get to that, can we lower the frickin' music, Variety magazine? I can barely hear between the pings of electronic general background music. I need to get this advice.
Well, you didn't miss much.
Yeah.
Maybe they upped the music to hide what Chloe was saying. Because they were like, this is so bad.
She actually said, we need systematic change at the top, a top-down effect. Trickle-down economics does not work. And they're like, bum, 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 bum. They just dubbed it over and said, just find your passion.
That's so original too. I've never heard that before. I needed Chloe to tell me.
You're passionate about. It's shut up.
Kia, you gotta be passionate about YouTube. unless you're
I
passionate,
am.
you're not gonna.
The thing is, I am,
Like,
and it's like it's hard. It's still hard.
No, but like you didn't know, right? Like
I didn't
this
know.
is the moment you found out.
You're right.
Like
I didn't know
this is not
that
something.
passion was important. And I totally disagree with that. Honestly, I totally disagree with that whole sentiment. And I used to believe in it, and then I was like, no, because if you monetize everything, nothing is sacred. Save your passions for yourself or for your free time. That's more my perspective. It's like, I think sometimes it's like, we're like, oh my God, I love video, so I have to create video all the time. It's like, no, it kind of ruined, like when I was producing videos for other people's companies, I kind of ended up hating video at some points because I'm like, this sucks. This is hard. This is like, I love making films and I love doing YouTube, but the rest of it, it's like I turned it into this thing that stinks and I'm like, ugh. So I don't like that advice at all. I think it's another chapter 2. Chapter 1 is get off your ass and work. Chapter 2 is find something you're passionate about. It's like, okay, got it. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that I've heard a lot. Like this whole passion thing, I've heard it a lot from the self-helpers. Like it's just in everyone's mouth, just like Kim's thing was. But I mean, I do agree that you need to be passionate about it, because like when you're just like miserable and it's impossible to hide how much you hate something.
Yeah.
Then yeah, people are not gonna buy from you if you clearly hate the product you're selling. So I guess in that extent, I do agree with it. But I agree with you that I think that passion is overrated a little bit, because like yeah, you're gonna be passionate, but like you run out of passion very quickly. Like you've done it and then you're done. You're like, you know, I'm like, once I do a video, I'm done with the passion. Like I need something else to keep me going. You know what I mean? Like the passion is over. So what's next is like,
yeah, and I think passion, the word passion has lost a lot of its meaning. You know, I don't even know what it means really, but to me, I think it's something that, and I've said this before on some, I don't know if it's this channel or another channel, but like passion is not necessarily positive passion. It's not like, oh, the thing that wakes you up in the morning. For me, my passion comes from a place of anger a lot of times. Like I'm passionately angry at some of the advice that's been given out about self-help. I'm passionately angry about people being ripped off and told and sold a dream for thousands of dollars that they know themselves is never going to happen for most people that buy it. That's what I'm passionate about. Is that something I want to like? It's not like a good thing. It's not like, oh, I'm passionate about baseball, so I wake up in the morning and throw a ball every day. Like that's passion for some people, but that's not my passion. And it's like happy passion, I think, is more just interest. You know, keeps my attention for an extended period of time. But that's not passion for me. But those are two, it's like not, I don't know, that's like kind of lost the whole, it's like, oh, I'm interested in eco-friendly brands. Okay, great. I'm not going to stay up all night researching them and like going, oh my God, you know, but I could be interested.
Well, it's funny because like the word passion can be understood in both a positive and a negative way. Like you can be consumed by passion in a, you know, like all the tragedies in the entire world that like people are too passionate, who are too in love to the point where it consumes them and they die for each other or they kill each other or like whatever, you know. It's negative. It's like it's a feeling that has been often, like in tragedies, it was attributed to gods. Like it wasn't even something that they could control. It was so bad. It was so much, you know. So there is that. But I would agree that for me, it's also like mostly in when it comes from a place of seeing something really wrong happening and wanting to stop. You know, like it's more like being angry with a thing, with an injustice. Like this is why I fucking hate the self-help world, because they're targeting people who are vulnerable very often. And when you see that, it's like, at least for me, it's a feeling. I'm like, these people don't need your stupid $2,000, $3,000, $10,000 course. What they need is actual help, actual like people who know how to help, therapists. That's what they need. And you're just selling them the dream and whatever. You're taking advantage of their situation and of their dreams of like self-realization in order to just make money off of their backs. And these are people who don't have that money. If they had that money, I would have no problem. Just like go get it from the rich. I don't care. But why are you targeting people who can't afford it? You know, like that's what drives me nuts. It's like, because it's so low and so disgusting to me that it leave me indifferent. You know, I'm not like, and it's not a pleasure. Like, oh, yet another person getting targeted. Yay! Like that's, you know, I mean? That's not what's happening at all.
No, I agree, and I think it's hard in these little snippets on social media. I mean, that's kind of a problem within itself. But explain what you mean by passion, so we can all be on the same page. Like, passion about, what are they passionate about? Entrepreneurship, but they're only doing one sliver. They're doing promotional content. So what they're passionate about in life is promoting brands. Like, that's cool. That's not my passion. And it's almost a means to an end. Like, will I promote a brand? Sure, to make money so I can continue to do what I actually like. But what do they actually like? I don't even know. Maybe they say it on the show, but
in this show, there are some pictures of Chloe's jeans company. I also know they had several things. This is why it's like, it's so whatever it is that they were passionate for at the time, and then like 6 months later they had another idea and they made that happen, and then they keep saying like, just see how easy it is. I wanted to do that, and then I did it, and then I wanted to do perfumes, and then I did it, and then I wanted to do makeup, and I did it. You guys can do it too.
You can do it. It's fine. It's no problem. Yeah. Whatever. I don't know. It seems like this is just a repeating thing, and I think it's almost a justification. They have to justify that, well, I did something above you, almost, as opposed to I was just given this opportunity, even though it's a mixture. It's like, yes, you took the opportunity and didn't waste it. That's what you did. You didn't like come up from nothing, and no one really starts from nothing these days. It's very difficult at this point to start with zero and make it to like a billionaire. I mean, look how long it's taken them, and they started with a lot, Yeah, they're at this point, but it's been decades in the making, and they're still working so hard, as they say, which I agree with in a point, to get more. It's like, I don't know if I want that. Yeah. I don't. Straight up.
It's a bit of a sham. It's like they're trying to make it sound like they did something innovative, sorry, or they had a brilliant idea that worked, or that but actually this is just more about the fact that they were sexy women. They managed to like keep people's attention on reality shows and stuff like that. It's really nothing very, it's not something that if had they not been born so gorgeous, and plus like all the plastic surgery and stuff.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, had they not been able to entice like an entire planet with like this new idea of beauty or this whatever, I don't know that they would have been relevant. If they were ugly and also penniless and they had no money to like inject Botox and like, BBLs and stuff like that, who would have cared? Like, nobody.
Yeah. And I think it's the whole problem with selling your life. And I think that's the difference between acting and reality show. It is a trade-off. When you're acting, you're the character and people fall in love with the character, but you have a life, you have a sacred life, hopefully, outside of that, that you can go home to and live and experience life for what it is, as opposed to everyone knows everything about you. Everyone knows your inside stuff, your relationships, your failures, your divorces, your children, like everything's put out there. You lose a lot. That is, I think that's worth $1 billion, $1 trillion in like value, because you can never give that back. Once it's out there, it's very difficult to take it back and to have privacy and to have, moments to yourself or have a life outside of being a, leather bound influencer. Like, that's all you can do. You limit your opportunities in a way too. So if you're not 100% on board with your whole life being this, I don't know if it's a worthwhile pursuit.
I guess it depends on, the game. Like, would you rather be rich or famous? um, it depends on everyone because everyone seems to have a different answer to it, and
Yeah.
they clearly have both.
Yeah.
So, if you're
suppose
rich
so.
enough, you can have both of them. It's fine.
Yeah.
You don't
If you're
need
rich
to
enough, you
choose.
can do anything you want, apparently, which is true. So, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we're at Kim's advice.
But then
sorry.
it's. Oh no, go on.
Now I was gonna say this. You want to watch Kim's advice?
Yes, let's. This is
Okay.
the part that is the most.
This is the
enraging.
big. This is the big part. The big moment.
For
Yeah.
women in business. Get your fucking ass up and work. It seems like nobody wants to work these days. You
That's
have to,
so true.
You have to surround yourself with people
So true.
that want to work.
Yeah.
Have a good work environment where everyone loves what they do because you have one life. No toxic work environments, and show up and do the work.
If you're the smartest person in that room, you got to go to another room. Like, you don't
Oh my
I
God.
want to be around really successful people because that's going to drive me to be successful. A lot of people get intimidated to be in a room full of smart thinkers, wealthy people, whatever it is. I
how
want to
you're
be in
gonna
that
learn.
room because it also scares you to want to be to be
It
the
motivates you and
least person.
inspires you.
Yeah. I'm like, I gotta hustle.
Yeah,
so
but
I
I
can
think
be back in
also
this room and get
because
there.
you see everything on social media and you think, oh, it's just a lifestyle, or oh, it's like really quick and easy, and you can
Who
just
thinks
post
that?
something, and it's not easy. When you do product shots, when you do post things that are work-related posts, it's still a job and it's still really hard. And
Oh yeah, the guy who had to buy the fabric to put on this loose ass PVC pipe really had to work his ass off. Or hers.
So are they trying to say you should try to be an influencer? What is their pitch here? Is that the pitch? Be an influencer? It's not easy. You just work your ass off to be an influencer. Is that what it is?
Well, I think a lot of people. I think what they're clapping back at is that people say, "Oh my God, it's so easy to be Kim Kardashian," and I would disagree with that. I think it's hard. There's a lot of trade-offs. We've talked about several of them, like privacy, the amount of time and effort, the flying, the talking, the having to be perfect and makeup and plastic surgery. All of that doesn't maybe equal out, but it does factor in. So she's saying like, "Oh, if you want my life, you gotta do all the stuff I've done." And I get that, but I think with women in business, it's like women in business goes far beyond what you're doing, Kardashian family.
Yeah.
Don't generalize it so much. I think she should have just been honest about why she's like, okay, if you think my life's so easy, look at all the shit I have to do to get where I'm at. Fine. I think that's what all self-help though becomes, because even Rachel Hollis, all her advice is the stuff that she had to go through to get to what she's got. It's like, okay, but that's not advice. That's just you telling us how amazing you are and how hard it was for you. It's cool, but that's not helpful to most people that are going to hear it.
Yeah. And did you hear that Chloe's advice of just go to a smarter room? If you're the smartest in the room, you need to go to another room. Don't be intimidated to sit around smart people and successful people. I don't know, Kayla, but how intimidated have you ever been to talk to a smart or successful person or a rich person? Or
I don't know.
because I've never heard of anyone be like, oh, I don't want to talk to them. And they're
I'm too intimidated.
successful.
It's not a problem I have to deal with very often because
I would say, for example, when you have people like Gary Vee, or oh, he's so rich and successful, I will pay $10,000 to go to speak with him.
To hear his
I'm
advice.
not into. Do you know what I mean? I will not pay. You guys don't pay. But I know people have paid money to go. Nobody's intimidated. Who is she talking about? It seems so weird. I don't know who they're talking about.
Maybe it's people who are born rich and that they want the success that the Kardashians have had and they don't get it immediately, or they have 100,000 followers, they don't have 10 million, and they're like, I don't get it. I post the same shit that Kim posts, and she's saying well, there's a lot more to it than just going to a resort and taking a photo. There's meetings to have, and there's sex tapes to release secretly, and there's paparazzi to become friends with. There's lots of different elements to their empire that most other low-level influencers don't get. But again, it's not advice. It's just you don't know my life kind of rhetoric. which is not what she's claiming it actually is.
Yeah, but the thing is, people do know because they've been in the public eye for like 20 years now.
Yeah, true.
Like, what exactly do we not know at this stage? That's the thing. It's like, you don't need to do this, Kim. We know pretty much everything you've done.
Yeah, and all the Photoshop and stuff. I think it's ironic that Chloe's old advice, like, just be who you are. It's like, bitch, come on. You got like a team of Photoshop people. You get upset when people post something like there's no photos on the internet of them that have not been retouched because they're so adamant about it. And like even her, like she looks like unrecognizable from 10 years ago. She looks fine. She looks good, but like just be yourself. Okay, that's like rich coming from someone who's had hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of surgery and retouching of photos probably in her life. It's like just stop with the advice. Like let's stop giving each other advice, I guess, is my whole takeaway.
Do you know about that photo that her grandmother was posting that was unedited?
Yeah, and she got
like,
upset.
Chloe had it like taken down by all the magazines and
stuff. It's like really be yourself and just go to different rooms.
To be authentic, like so hard.
It's like no, you didn't.
It's totally us.
I'm cool with it as long as you're telling the truth and you're not. So it's like, you know. But I don't know. I think they're all up in their own head and up their own ass that they think that they are authentic. Like, well, everyone gets plastic surgery. It's like, yeah, in Beverly Hills where you live or Calabasas, wherever you're from, like, yeah, maybe. But like your worldview is so little. Even as a major celebrity, your worldview is still very small.
And also, I wonder if, let's say this... I see the comment from Andar. Like, she probably does know a lot of fucking lazy rich people.
True.
And I would agree. And that was like one of my first instincts on who she was talking to. Maybe she was talking to these people. But in like rich people's worlds, working is not a virtue. Like, they don't want to work.
No, I don't want to either.
This is a new rhetoric here. Like, work really hard to be rich and to work harder. Like, that's not something that rich people want. Rich people don't want to work. Like if I don't know if you've met anyone who's like, but like at least in the UK, maybe it's like the old money mentality, but it's like that. Like men who have a lot of money want to have women who don't work. They seem it's like embarrassing if their wives or girlfriends work and stuff like that, because it means they don't have enough money to like keep them happy or
well, they have a brood of children too. They have like between the 3 or 4 of them, they have like 8, 9, 10 children. Like all those kids need to be watched by someone while they're getting off their ass and working. So it's like, yeah, if they didn't have someone that they could hire to watch the children while they go and do all these working things, they'd have the time would be spent watching this child, watching the several children that they have. I mean, not that it really matters necessarily, but like, she had a surrogate, so she didn't lose her figure for years because they wanted children, but they had a surrogate person go through the pregnancy, and maybe that wasn't for the figure reasons, but she got to keep doing modeling and stuff while she was doing it. So there's all these things that cost money to attain and to pull off that they're doing that allows them to get off their ass and work, but it's not talked about in these conversations.
And it's not just money that it costs money, but it also costs like time and energy, and that's energy you're not investing in something else. Because when you're like washing your child or getting your child ready for, I don't have children, but I'm assuming that when you're doing that, you're not like thinking of your business ideas. You're not thinking, oh, how do I get my business off? You can't. You're busy with like so many things, and they add up, and it's very hard when you already have a job or when you have a family. You have like responsibilities because you don't have the money to like outsource the responsibilities to other people. It's very hard to find like enough brain
cells,
brain space, and like enough time to kind of build something from the ground up. That's like close to impossible. Like I can't even see it, because like a business is not something that you can just build within 15 minutes like a day. You're gonna take 15 minutes off from your job and from your family or whatever to build your business a day. Like that's, do you know what I mean?
Yes, and I want to make a mean comment because it's like, if you had all the time that the Kardashians have, so you're outsourcing all of these activities for your kids, for your taxes, for the housekeepers, all that stuff that they have going on, the landscapers, all the little the grocery shopping, all that stuff they don't have to deal with. This is what you come up with. This is the product that you've created. What is this?
Yeah.
Chocolate panty suit? What is this? I don't get it.
I don't. Here's the thing. She did not decide on this. Like, she has no hand in the decision making. This is Variety deciding on what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
And they will just pay them to be in this, and that's it.
Yeah, it's like you want to be a model. That's cool. But it's not like being a model for a company that you have a financial interest in doesn't mean you're an entrepreneur necessarily. I mean, it does, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's finish it up. We got 30 seconds-ish left.
Success is never easy. So you just, if you put in the work, you will see results. It's that simple.
Okay. Okay, not to like make a horrible joke, but why would they separate uncover? It almost, to me, I'm not laughing, I'm sorry. To me, it's like, is this, when I first saw this title, it's like, it looks like uncover ED, like we're talking about like eating disorders or something that are undercover. I'm like, why would they separate it like that? I guess it's the cover of the magazine. Okay, I get it now. Sorry. It's just very weird. I'm like, why would they do that? It seems like it's like an undercover investigation about EDs. Anyways, I'm an asshole. I'm an asshole for that, and I'm also an asshole because I saw someone said that she had. I don't know enough about Kim Kardashian to know this, but she had severe medical problems. That's why she had the surrogate. So, my bad. I'm sorry. I thought it was for the modeling buku bucks.
Oh.
Cancel me.
I didn't know about that, but then I don't really watch them. Aside from like the major stuff, I don't
same.
Know very much about them.
Ignorance is my excuse.
I don't want to give them the attention either. Like, you know,
I agree.
What good is that gonna do me? Like, they're not opening my eyes about anything. They're not educating me on anything. They're not raising awareness of very much. So, like, what am I gonna get from that, aside from hating my body, from hating my financial situation, from hating my life? Like, what am I gonna get out of it that is, like, not terrible?
Yeah. Box background ideas? Set ideas? I was just curious what her actual businesses are. This is for a while ago, though. This is from 2022. Okay, you want to know? This is all the businesses. Kardashian Card.
Sure.
Scrapped before it even took off. It was a prepaid MasterCard from 2010. Okay, it targeted young teenagers. That's good.
Nice. That's great.
Kardashian Beauty, which is some sort of beauty hair salon, hairspray, mousse. Okay, cool. Belle Noel jewelry, hoop earrings. Okay, I saw Chris wearing some hoop earrings. Selfish. Oh, self-portrait, selfie-style book. Oh my God. Okay.
Selfish is a book she wrote.
That's not a business, is it?
I thought it was a self-help book.
Oh, it says, alongside BFF Paris Hilton, Kim is often attributed with the rise of the selfie, being one of the first people to become known posting self-portrait style photos across her social media accounts. In 2015, Kim released a coffee table photo book titled Selfish, which was published by Rizzoli and contained a collection of previously unseen selfies. The signed first edition sold out within 1 minute, despite critics calling the project narcissistic and insipid. Okay.
Yeah.
Kim Kardashian Hollywood game app. Okay. Shoe Dazzle. She does Shoe Dazzle? She owned that? Oh. I didn't know that. That's kind of a big, was back in the day. Oh, okay, and it was bought. So this one actually, I don't know if she started it or what her role is, but Shoe Dazzle got purchased by Just Fab in 2013 for an undisclosed sum of money, making it one of Kim's first successful business ventures. Okay, Queen, go off.
Fair enough.
Perfume. Okay, so basically the same stuff. Dash Boutique. See, this is this doesn't look like the person we just watched. No offense.
Yeah.
It does not look the same. Okay, a boutique store. Okay, Kimojis, an app where there's different emojis. More perfume. More beauty. Skims. Oh, that's the one I hear about the most. That's okay. That's like Spanx, I guess, for women.
Because God forbid you show any skin that isn't completely tight and
Tucked in,
you know,
to your.
just make sure you do anything but look real.
Girdles for the modern girl.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay. Well, I learned something. I learned a lot about them today.